Top 10 fantasy places that would suck in real life. You will never guess what the number 1 place is. Like and subscribe for weekly videos. In the comments below, list one topic you think should be in a top 10 video and comment if you subscribe to this channel. What might be your optimal spot to live? For a few, it would be an ideal town. For other people, a cutting-edge city. From idealistic realms to isolated Rousseauian unsettled areas, huge numbers of us have a thought of what our ideal climate would be. You don't need to go insane on the dream front. In any event, envisioning that you claim and work the most delightfully tree with a flawlessly planned condo higher up could be the most noteworthy ideal for some trying gourmet specialists. In actuality, notwithstanding, idealistic goals consistently lead to terrible. Here are 10 dream places from film, TV, writing, and computer games that would suck hard in the event that you needed to live there. 10 Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. A business that requires you to engage in slave labor practices. The new chief cringed behind the sculpture of the Spots author. He sniffed it and, smelling raspberries, took a lick. Nugget, he thought. What a virtuoso. Then, from the hallways past the blockaded entryway, he heard a horrible sound. Oompa loompa doompity doo. I have another riddle for you, Oompa loompa doompity dee. What will it take for us to be free? Cried the slave armed force as they moved toward the supervisor's office inside the domineering, harsh chocolate factory. With a tune in their souls, opportunity in their spirits, and honed caramel blending paddles in their grasp, it was the ideal opportunity for the Oompa Loompas to eliminate the last impediment that lay before their way to liberation. Excerpt from Roald Dahl's original novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 3, Charlie's dead, now it's your turn. Sooner or later, in case you're given the keys to this spot, they'll want you. Or on the other hand, in case you're a crazed sociopath with enough capability to uphold your standard over these shocking orange-confronted mythical beings, at that point what do you get toward the finish? All things considered, a cursed chocolate factory. This place sucks. 9. The Shire. Eventually, you'll be defeated. You're 106.7 centimeters tall, 3 feet 6 inches. Everybody you know is around a similar tallness. You are essential for an agrarian culture that detests experience and hates brutality. Your property is a rustic nirvana that is crammed with normal resources. Your neighbors? Horse-riding heroes twofold your stature who just crushed an abhorrent diving being with a mystical ring. You almost became oppressed by a previously vanquished wizard whose forces were greatly exhausted. By what means will your kin face an inexorably incredible realm with no prompt dangers and a need to grow for resources? Yeah, hobbits are toast. Except if you can dare to dream for an inundation of similar little individuals from a correspondingly abusive circumstance to look for shelter in the Shire. At that point you'll unite as one and send envoys to Rowan and Gondor to sign a peace settlement while preparing your developing populace for some sort of treachery-based, topsy-turvy, guerrilla procedure for the possible invasion. Is this going to be the introduction of a Hobbit Oompa Loompa alliance? Are these two universes going to join? We sure want to think not. 8. The County of Midsummer. The perfect rural English county. Make sure you're armed. The Shire was J.R.R. Tolkien's admired rendition of the home counties of England meant a high dream setting. The district of Midsummer from the long-running ITV show Midsummer Murders does a comparative thing by putting this anecdotal, glorified territory in an unquestionably more transient setting. The place is almost wonderful with its pretty little towns loaded up with lovely flower shows, curious bungalows, bikes, and tweed-clad, well-disposed local people with their 4x4 vehicles that never surpass 48 kilometers for each hour, 30 miles per hour. In any case, the region holds a dim mystery. The homicide rate gives the Mexican medication capitals of Tijuana and Juarez a run for their money. With at any rate 369 killings, 87 endeavored murders, and a large group of different passings, for example, getting away from executioners, falling into quarries, suicides, typical field stuff. This area may not be the best spot to settle down. It is not exactly a 2-hour drive to London, however. 7. Metropolis. A crime-ridden town, next door to Gotham City, at the mercy of an all-powerful alien. You're being robbed by a gathering of deadbeats. They're going to get the antique pocket watch your dead date gave you. At that point bang, the sound wall is broken above you. Dropping from the mists, Superman dives down to spare the day. If you will, envision now the hundreds additional occurrences where Superman is generally involved. State, battling General Zod. Where's your saint now? Put aside the way that Superman isn't omniscient, doesn't have divine judgment, and may get constrained into an existence of utilitarian roused tyranny by magnetic wrongdoers and execute 99% of humanity. On the off chance that you live in Metropolis, you live right nearby to Gotham City, the most noticeably awful city in the world. The crime percentages are continually going to be high, particularly when improvement hits East Gotham and all the costumed supervillains unite as one to Lisa Tura in Brownstone over the waterway in Metropolis. 6. The Hall of Valhalla, the scariest waiting game. Let us think about that life following death, the divine beings, and the entire universe are actually as the Old Norse people groups envision them to be. Ragnarok, the all-devouring, world-finishing fight where you and your diminutive lance will be going head-to-head with an entire host of beasts, seems like a horrendous event. Do you imagine that Fenrir, the monster wolf and offspring of Loki, will stand by calmly for his peace with Odin, a fight he will win? Incidentally, nah, he will need to fill his gut with some scrumptious insides first. Think about how your insides taste? Fenrir needs to discover out. Now, have you ever sat in an emergency clinic sitting area fully expecting test results? It's a waking bad dream. Valhalla resembles hanging tight for a test outcome that you know ahead of time will be positive, since wicked Ragnarok is inescapable. You'll be holding up in a celebrated assembly hall for that day to come. But don't worry excessively. There will be free legs of sheep and horns of meat for you to appreciate. This guarantees that you'll be fat and smashed when the Goliath Midgard serpent is prepared to nibble your head off. 5. Shangri-La, Utopia near the death zone. This paradisal network from James Hilton's 1933 novel Lost Horizon is extraordinary in case you're from that point. He set this mystical city high in the Kulun Mountains in Tibet. Much like other romanticized places, for example, El Dorado, the City of Gold, the Garden of Eden, or Atlantis, before it sank, Shangri-La has all the signs of heaven on earth: ample food, absolute concordance, and long-living occupants who are consistently happy. But imagine a scenario where you needed to visit. If you actually go to the city of Quito in Ecuador, you'll experience what we're going to plot. Much like the anecdotal Shangri-La, Quito is excellent and loaded with solid individuals and exquisite design. It is an enjoyment to meander around and take in the sights, on the off chance that you grew up someplace that is a couple thousand feet above ocean level. However, in the event that you grew up beneath the mists like most people, you'll in all likelihood need to sit down and recover each couple of yards. You may even create hightailment and need hospitalization. Don't stress, however, there are a lot of coca leaves to burn through. This assists with fighting off elevation ailment and lift your energy. In Quito, that is. There are no coca plants in Central Asia. Shangri-La would be an astonishing spot to view until you ran out of oxygen tanks. At that point you either adjust or bite the dust. All things considered, future explorers could utilize you as a waymarker like some shocking dead climbers on Mount Everest. 4. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the #1 target for attack by powerful terrorists. Recollect terrorism? For an extended period of time, the thought of a little gathering of philosophically had people assaulting unassuming residents was viewed as the essential danger confronting humanity. Numerous individuals may in any case feel thusly. Places of interest, modern plants, monetary focuses, and the lobbies of public governments are the standard focuses for these malevolent fear-based oppressor groups. In J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter universe, an all-inclusive school is regularly an essential objective. Those fear-based oppressors utilize wizardry. All in all, for what reason would you send your children there? Wizards? 3. Pepsi Town Center for the emerging corporocratic empire. On the off chance that Superman turned insidiousness, that would be horrendous. Presently envision that he worked for Pepsi and needed to establish a corporate autocracy over the US or possibly the world? That is by all accounts the proposed after effect of the 1999 PlayStation game Pepsiman. Playing as the eponymous superhuman, you explore your way through precarious, Crash Bandicoot-style levels to enable parched individuals to get their fix of this sweet pop. The last level is in Pepsi City, which we can finish up is an entire city claimed and worked by PepsiCo Incorporated. Stand by. What? If Pepsiman is from Pepsi City and Pepsi claims them both, what might be next? Judging by the terrifying, fascistic promotion for the game, it is assumed control over the terrain US and spot the country under the strength of Pepsi. Extravagant a Coke? That will be 10 years in the lobby of correction for you. Supported by Pepsi. Drink. 2. Brigadoon. See you next century. Brigadoon is at the focal point of a sentimental Scottish legend. A little town in the Highlands tumbled to an awful revile. Local people made an arrangement with Almighty God to spare their spirits. The town, alongside the entirety of its occupants, would stay avoided the world and just rise up out of its intangibility for a solitary day each 100 years. This day is a period for extraordinary festival on the grounds that Brigadoon can be visited by outcasts. The catch? none of the residents can leave. In the event that anybody adventures outside the town limit, the entire spot and all the residents will vanish forever. In the legend, the spot is intended to be wonderful. Thus, for what reason would you need to leave? Let's think about this. Imagine a scenario where an untouchable, acting like a cheerful traveler who needs to encounter this once-in-a-blue-moon wonder, gets Mrs. McCloud, the dough puncher's better half, ties her in a body sack, and hauls her external the town? Everybody in Brigadoon is gone. Thus, where might they go? Given the arrangement the locals hit with God, there are two choices, purgatory or hell. On the off chance that it's purgatory, they'll inevitably get to heaven. In this way, for what reason do they remain in Brigadoon? It must be hell. Envision living in a network that remaining parts solidified in some in the middle of ageless state for a very long time. At that point it's dependent upon the impulse of some carefree sightseers whose terrible conduct could bring about your entire network being entrusted to perdition forever. No way. One sunny day, California, nice weather, a zoo, a museum, Disneyland nearby, and an adjacent portal to hell. California is a state with heaps of wonderful networks. Any rational individual would offer his correct kidney to live in one of these spots. Claremont, Solvang, and Hillsborough all seem like the ideal spot to live. Indeed, Los Angeles and San Francisco have their vagrancy and crap-related issues. However, on the off chance that you have enough money, wouldn't you need to live in Beverly Hills or Nob Hill? Well, the little, charming, anecdotal city of Sunnydale could be high on any such rundown, settled among Claremont and Hillsborough. The main issue with Sunnydale? You'll be living nearby to an entrance to a beast-filled substitute reality that is leaking. It's alright, however, in light of the fact that you'll have a champion in your middle. An adolescent young lady named Buffy. Shoot, you ought to have moved to Solvang. Who doesn't care for chocolate?